Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking cloud. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease.
What is going on, everyone? And in this video I'll be giving you my UFC Vegas 59 main card predictions for the upcoming event taking place this Saturday, UFC Fight Night, Santos versus Hill. These Ultimate Fighter, where there's like two Ultimate Fighter fights on the card, not really looking forward to it. Really haven't even watched the Ultimate Fighter outside of watching a couple of fights just so I can make this video. But Ultimate Fighter really hasn't been the same for me, honestly, in a while, so not too impressed by that. But yeah, and then I mean, I guess the main and co-main event could be good, but yeah, this card is pretty weak in my opinion. But we have to see what happens. In the previous event went 10-3. Obviously, Amanda Nunes getting the victory, Brandon Moreno getting the victory, Serghei Pavlovich getting the victory against Derek Lewis, which in my opinion just, I mean, that wasn't the fight at all. Pendoja getting the victory against Perez, that was pretty impressive, fairly quick as well. And then Ankalaev getting the victory against Anthony Smith. Unfortunate for Anthony Smith, but either way, went 10-3, so pretty proud of that one. But then we move into this one, and maybe it won't be a good card for me, but we'll have to see. And like I said, not too fond of the Ultimate Fighter stuff, but either way, we'll go ahead and jump into it. So in the first fight on the main card, we have Ariane, Queen of Violence, Lipski taking on Priscila, Zombie Girl, Cachoeira. 14-7 for Lipski, and then for 11-4 for Cachoeira. Both fighters are 3-4 inside of the UFC, so pretty similar when it comes to that. Both fighters coming off of a win as well. When you look at Lipski, she's coming into this fight pretty good heavy shots in close. She's patient. I think she's going to be a little bit more patient, well, a lot more patient than Cachoeira, at least in this fight. Good feints, and good combinations, ending with kicks in general. Her grappling, I think against better grappler, you know, obviously she's been taken down against Bohm. She had good control though, good transitions. So I mean, it just depends on the grappler, I guess. Like, yeah, you can take her down, but you know, she can also handle her own against like a lesser grappler. Overall, though, I would say for Lipski, nasty power. She does walk her opponents down, and then also her grappling defense has improved. Now, I don't think she's really gonna have to worry about getting taken down in this fight, but we'll see. For Cachoeira, more of the wild fighter. Definitely a lot more of like uncontrolled violence, more aggression when it comes to that. Wild hooks, heavy leg kicks. She does have big power, but like I said, man, like I think she relies on too much aggression that's not controlled. So she'll get a little bit crazy with it, and yeah, against a better, you know, a more patient striker who's picking their shots, like I feel like you could easily counter her, right? You could definitely take advantage of that. Same thing with like Lipski, her grappling, she's been taken down by better grapplers, but maybe she tries to go for the takedown in this one. I would say she's pretty maybe not though. I still think she's gonna rely on her like just wild striking. Overall, Cachoeira, aggressive fighter, but definitely leaves herself exposed on the feet, and like I suggested, I think a better striker, someone like Lipski, is going to be able to take advantage of that. Now, whether or not she's able to finish her, whether or not, I mean, at the same time, I guess Priscila Cachoeira could catch her with something big if she gets into a wild exchange, but I'm just not liking like the wildness of that. I think that is pretty counterable, and I think once you kind of figure out the timing, you're definitely exposed to a lot of strikes. So I'm gonna go Ariane Lipski in this one, but you know, it could go either way really at this point. But I would hope that Lipski is able to, you know, hang in there. Don't brawl with her back, right? Don't get into all of that, and then just pick your shots, counter big, and kind of win the fight. So I'll go Ariane Lipski to defeat Priscila Cachoeira. take a win by a decision. Move on into the next fight, and there's another fight where this card to me just isn't the card really, but Augusto Sakai, and he is coming in off of a loss. He's actually coming off some pretty bad losses in this fight. So for Augusto Sakai, he's coming off a loss against Tai Tuivasa. He's coming in with a 15-4-1 record, and then Spivac is coming in, the polar bear, 14-3. For Sakai, 3 KO TKOs. Now, granted, it was against Overeem, Rosenstrike, Tuivasa, so it's not like he's fighting horrible fighters, but definitely, all 3 KO TKOs isn't necessarily the best thing in the world. And I'm not saying Spivac is the best at all either, but I would say the stand-up is probably going to go to Sakai. He has some pretty solid kicks. He definitely is not someone that you want to just let kicking you, right? If he keeps kicking you, like, it could definitely affect a lot. His striking, though, gets a little bit wild. He obviously has big power, but I would say he doesn't have too much variety. It's not like he's going to the body, to the head, and he's just kind of trying to chop away at your legs and then try to land that like really big shot, kind of like a classic heavyweight. Although his leg kicks are probably a lot better. Grappling, Sakai's not going to be diving in for takedowns, right? He's not doing none of that. He's pretty defensive in the clinch, lands some big knees in the clinch as well. But again, like I said, he's not necessarily, he could definitely get in some trouble if he gets taken down in this fight. So he's going to probably just want to, utilize some good takedown defense. Overall, Sakai, dangerous fighter, doesn't really fight well backing up. And he needs to utilize those leg kicks and stay upright on his feet if he wants to beat Spivac. For Spivac, 5-3 inside of the UFC as well. Pretty solid jab. He's gonna have to deal with those leg kicks, maybe counter for the takedowns, and he has some pretty good power in his right hand. But I'll definitely, his striking I don't think is the best either. And I think Spivac might have to land a little bit more on Sakai than if Sakai just lands one big shot, something like that. Grappling advantage is obviously going to be for Spivac. Very powerful in the clinch, great control on the ground, transitions to the better spots. He'll try to get that ground and pound. He might look for a submission, and that's just not, if Sakai can't get back up, or if he does get taken down, maybe it happens in the second or third round, right? It could be a big problem for Sakai. Now, granted, Spivac's going to have to get there, right? He's going to have to avoid getting outstruck. He's going to have to avoid not getting KO'd. He's going to have to wear on Sakai. And we'll have to see if he's able to do that, because Sakai can definitely just land bombs on him. But at the same time, man, I don't know. Sometimes, you would hope, right? So if, you're Augusto, you're going for Augusto Sakai, you're hoping that he's going to just drop bombs on him, maybe counter with a big-ass knee to his head when he goes in for the takedown. But then if Sakai just gets taken down or something, and then he can't really get back up, and Spivac's all over him, and then it's like he's in shambles, right? Or Sakai is just getting super tired, so third round comes along, and he's just kind of gassed. Then he really does get taken down, then he gets submitted. So that sketches me out a bit, outside of just going one of these guys is going to get knocked out, right? What happens if they don't get knocked out? So I'm going to go Serghei Spivac. I'll take him to defeat Augusto Sakai. I'm actually going to take him to win by ground and pound. Round 3, KO TKO. We'll move on into the third fight on the main card. We have Brogan Walker taking on Juliana Miller. 8-2 record for Walker, and then the 2-1 record for Miller. Obviously, this is the Ultimate Fighter fights. Not really sure how these fights are going to go. Could be not the best fights in the world, but, half the people don't even know who these people are, right? For Walker, she's definitely coming to this fight. Good stand-up. Her leg kicks are pretty solid. Step-in punches, stays in opponent's face, right? She definitely walks you down, and she's a patient fighter, right? She definitely is not like a brawl or anything like that. She has solid takedown defense. We saw that in her last fight inside of the Ultimate Fighter house. Good cardio. Even after working on defending all the clinch and defending the takedowns, really good cardio. Great sprawl. And overall, Walker, she's a pretty solid fighter, very patient in the stand-up, not a brawler, and she mixes up her striking fairly well. She's able to stay in there. So overall, I would say Walker is a pretty solid fighter. For Miller, Juliana Miller, coming in this fight, aggressive puncher. She's got a really good jab. She does. she looks a little bit sloppy when she starts chasing down her opponent. I personally felt like that in her last fight inside of the Ultimate Fighter house. Now, granted, we don't really know what we're gonna get now, but she was aggressive, but it was like it looked a little bit sloppy, like when she was chasing her opponent. Grappling. She controlled Neal in her last fight inside the Ultimate Fighter. Is she going to be able to get the takedown here? I'm not sure. I'm sure she's going to try. So she's going to have to be pretty determined, I think, in my opinion, to get Walker down, at least at will. So that might not play out for her. And then overall, I think Miller's pretty aggressive striker, or grappling solid. But if she can't get those takedowns, and if she can't, she's getting defended, right? So you have Walker just defending all the takedowns, then I think Miller might have some trouble there. And I just feel like Walker's going to be able to piece her up for 3 rounds. So I'm going to go with Brogan Walker on this one. It's Ultimate Fighter, so who knows. But I'll go Brogan Walker to defeat Juliana Miller. I'll take her to win by decision. And then move on into the next fight. We have Mohammed Usman, obviously Kamaru Usman's brother. And he'll be the motor Usman taking on Zach the Ripper Pauga. 8-2 for Usman, 6-0 for Pauga. And I mean, this is another one of those fights, man, where it's kind of like Spivac, right? It's like Usman, if he just lands one big bomb, right, on Pauga and then he puts him to sleep, well, then he wins the fight. But like, I feel like every other way possible, he's not going to win the fight. Just like Sakai. If Sakai is able to get Spivac out of there with one big shot, well, the fight is over. But if it doesn't go that way, then it's like, oh shit, what's going to happen? And so for Usman, he's coming in with a 7-2 record. Load up striking. His striking is very load up on big shots. Big power if he lands, big knockout power. But he's not a variety striker, right? So he's going to try to land some like one big shot on you. And I mean, if you can kind of just manage that, kind of distance yourself, figure it out early on, you're going to be able to handle the situation. He's not going to be, he's not he's not mixing it up like Stipe Miocic or something like that on the feet as a heavyweight. And he sure as hell doesn't have the striking like Pauga does, where it's very fast, stuff like that. And Usman will brawl. I mean, he'll be aggressive, but again, against a better striker, you're gonna get countered, you're gonna get put down, I feel like, and it's very risky. The higher level you get. Grappling, Usman's takedowns are very explosive. I'll give him that. But I think he's going to have a hard time keeping Pauga down, because Pauga has some pretty good get up and he also has some pretty solid takedown defense. So not sure if he'll be able to do too much with that. Overall, Usman, heavy striker, explosive takedowns, but his game plan is very predictable. We kind of know, like, if you can survive the big shots, give him some trouble, go to the body, go to the legs, you might give him a little bit of trouble and he might start to fade a little bit. He might get frustrated because, oh shit, I'm not going to put this guy out, or oh, I can't take him down. And so that could cause some issues. So for Pauga, fast hands, good feints, mixes it up well for a heavyweight. He's very patient too. So he can definitely throw a brawl. He can definitely get in there really like brawly style, which we saw in his last fight, in the Ultimate Fighter house. But I believe like his coach was saying like, don't brawl with him or something. But Pauga, like, the stand-up is just different than Usman's, in my opinion. It's just a lot more very fast, and yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't get like one overhand right to his head, that's like clean, I feel like he's just gonna light him up. And then yeah, his grappling, solid takedown defense. He's quick to get up, so I think it's gonna be hard for Usman to really get that takedown. Even if he gets a takedown, I think he pops back up. So for Pauga, great speed. He's not a brawler heavyweight. I think he can overwhelm Usman. I think he can attack the legs. I think he can watch out for the big bombs, counter off the big bombs, put him down, and I think he can get him out of there. Maybe not in the first round because, both guys are kind of hesitant to throw down. But then I think in that second round, Pauga opens up a little bit more and just kind of puts him down. So I'm going to go Zach Pauga to defeat Mohammed Usman. I'll take the win by KO/TKO in round number 2. Move on into the co-main event of the evening. This could be a pretty solid fight, but maybe not. We have Vicente Luque, the Silent Assassin, taking on 21-8-1, taking on Geoff, Hands of Steel, Neal, 14-4. Luque is coming off of a loss in his last fight, and he was taking on Bilal Muhammad in a fight where I would say Luque did fairly good on the feet, like what you would expect him to, but then on the floor, really didn't have the answer for Mohammed. But either way, it wasn't a bad fight, and I think you could obviously still tell that outside, like if the grappling wasn't there for Mohammed, he definitely would have been able to give him more problems on the feet. But Luque's a tough fighter, man. It's hard to put this guy away. I don't think he's actually ever been put away inside the UFC. He's 14-4 inside of the UFC. So yeah, he hasn't been put away. He's lost the decisions. So he's lost 4 decisions. So he's not like getting put down when he gets. So he's a tough fighter, man. Like Luque, nasty striker, nasty leg kicks, heavy shots. He'll trade with you to the body in the pocket, right? He'll close the distance, pressure you, constant pressure, be the aggressor, and he's not afraid to throw down. And that's just a lot to deal with, especially if you're not used to that kind of volume. And he mixes it up really well, right? His leg kicks go to the head, go to the body. He's trying to rip to the body. His grappling. So again, Luque is not going to be a guy diving in for takedowns or anything like that, but he's dangerous with submissions. His takedown defense against people that aren't known for like the grappling, like Mohammed, is still pretty solid. For Geoff Neal, who's coming in with a 7-2 record inside of the UFC, and Geoff Neal hasn't been, I think, what a lot of people thought he would be. Even in his last fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio, he won that fight via split decision, and it really, I think it could have gone the other way. It could have gone to Ponzinibbio. Ponzinibbio definitely could have gotten that victory, and it just wasn't, the volume was there for Neal, and like he was kind of sitting back a little bit too much. I mean, he has some pretty heavy leg kicks, pretty heavy shots in the pocket, nasty head kick, but he like I said, he's kind of gun shy sometimes. He doesn't really, he kind of sits back, and when it gets to someone like Luque, who's going to be in your face and throwing all these combos, you can definitely give him some trouble. Neal does have some good speed, but it's just whether or not he's going to be able to match Luque's output. And if he can't do that, it's just not going to look good for him. The grappling, if anyone's going for a takedown, maybe Geoff Neal goes for the takedown in this one. He has great takedown defense, so I'm sure he's not going to be diving. He's not going to have to worry about that, but he will have to worry about getting submitted if he gets a little crazy with the takedowns. Overall. But I don't, maybe he just keeps the fight standing. Who knows? Overall, though, Geoff Neal, solid fighter with power, but can be that gun shy. And Luque is a lot to deal with on the feet. He's going to have to go for it and stun Luque early to disrupt that aggression, because Luque is going to get in his face. And if Neal's not really doing too much, maybe he lands a couple shots here and there. But if he's sitting back a little too much, I'm afraid that he's going to let the fight go. Now, whether or not it goes full 5 rounds, we obviously have to see about that. I mean, I guess it could if both fighters are pretty careful and Luque slows it down a little bit. If Luque can see that, he can kind of just coast or whatever. Because Geoff Neal, man, I think Geoff Neal is hard to finish as well. I don't really see Geoff Neal getting finished here. So I think it could be a pretty strategic battle back and forth. But I still think Luque is going to land the faster shots, the better shots, and just be the aggressor. So even if nothing really happens, Luque is probably going to be in his face constantly, and that's just going to be like that octagon control. So Geoff Neal could stun him, maybe comes out of here, maybe feels great, maybe just takes Luque out, kills him. I guess that could happen. He has some pretty heavy shots, but I still think Luque is very dangerous, and he's going to want to get a win back coming off that loss against Belal Muhammad, especially because he was getting taken down, man, and that's unfortunate for him. So I'm going to go Vicente Luque to defeat Geoff Neal. I'll take him to win by a decision. Move on into the main event of the evening, and we have Thiago Maheda Santos, 22-10, taking on Jamahal Sweet Dreams Hill, 10-1, 1-no contest. Now, this is an interesting fight because I think Thiago Santos, normally you would expect him to be like, oh, maybe you think, I don't know, it's weird because I think a lot of people, like myself included, were hyped up on Thiago Santos at one point, especially when he had that close fight like with John Jones, but then it slowly just went downhill. He got submitted by Glover Teixeira, which it's like, okay, whatever. Against Alexander Rakic, he lost via unanimous decision, but it was like low volume, didn't really have much. Against Johnny Walker, he won via unanimous decision, but that wasn't the most exciting fight in the world. Really wasn't a high volume fight. And then he lost to Magomed Ankalaev via decision as well. Again, lower volume for Santos. So, I'm not sure what it is. I'm really not sure what it is for Santos. At one point, we thought he was going to beat John Jones or whatever. But for me, Thiago Santos is just known more for sitting back, waiting to counter. Obviously, good head kicks, good kicks to the body, all that, good leg kicks. Maybe you can take advantage of Hill. But then Hill's going to be able to counter that, even though he stands heavy on that leg. He's going to counter off those leg kicks. And you don't want to be leaving yourself open for counters from Hill, who we know can just destroy you. And then Santos, he obviously has some pretty nasty hooks. But at the same time, it's a little bit more of a wild, swinging hooks kind of thing. It's not necessarily so calculated. And the volume for me scares me, because if Hill, again, even if Hill isn't necessarily the best, or maybe he's not mixing up well, if Hill's walking him down and Santos is kind of just backing up against the fence, waiting for him, waiting to counter, but never really gets that opportunity, again, Hill's going to look better. Hill's going to look good doing that. So I think for me, I really like Jamahal Hill to defeat Thiago Santos in this one. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not it's going to be a finish or whatever, because I think Santos is tough, right? I also don't think Santos is a guy who's going to get absolutely crushed by anyone, but he has lost, he has lost via KO TKO before. Not recently, I guess, but against David Branch. So it's not like he's invincible in that way. And like I said, against a guy like Jamahal Hill, obviously, I don't get knocked out. Well, until you fight a certain guy that can knock you out, then next thing you know, it's going to be a problem for you. So I think unless Hill, Hill's going to come out, he's going to pressure forward. I think unless Hill gets a little too cocky, maybe Santos clips him with something, or maybe Santos is able to take him down fairly easily, and the next thing Hill's in trouble and he doesn't know what to do, and he's out here getting submitted or something. I mean, I guess that could happen, but I just feel like Jamahal Hill is he's gonna go for it, bring the fight to Santos, get his face, and I'm just not too sure Santos is gonna be able to take some of these shots. So it's gonna sketch me out. I think it's gonna happen early too. If Hill wins, I don't really see Hill winning this long decision. I don't see Hill getting a submission here. I think he has to finish him, and I think it has to be early, especially if Santos is able to start taking over the fight with grappling or something. It'll be too late for Hill to take over, and then we might see Santos win via decision. So I'm gonna go Jamahal Hill though. I like that he's going to press forward. I like that he's going to bring the fight to Santos. I like that he has nasty KO power. And, he's hungry, man. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to go Jamahal Hill to defeat Thiago Santos by KO TKO. I'll take him to win in round number 2. So that'll do it, guys, for my UFC Vegas 59 main card predictions. Again, like I said, not the most exciting card. I really haven't been looking forward to the Ultimate Fighter in a long time. Haven't really gotten into it like back in the day, so that's unfortunate. But either way, I think it'll still at least hopefully be a good main and co-main event, and then we'll see what the rest of the card. Either way, good fights, whatever. Everybody stay safe. Leave your comments down below. Tell me who you're picking. Subscribe, please. Hit the like button, and you know what, I'll see you guys in the next video.